you know. But so can you tell us a little bit about what effects the antivirals are having?
Here, hold on one second.
Sure.
So the antivirals. Let's talk about certainly the positives. One of the biggest issues, obviously, for me and most of us is this brain fogging. And this idea that even though it's a common name for us or a common thing, we'll just draw a blank on a regular basis.
All the time.
Yeah, right.
Every word,
right.
All the time. It's constant. I think people that don't have chronic fatigue very rarely understand what it's like to have brain fog. It is exhausting mentally. It's not just finding the word. It's using a lot of energy to try to find that word. It doesn't always come either, It's like your brain is constantly working and struggling, and it drains you even more.
Right. Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm going, and I actually took a friend with me. Last time I went to New York to see Dr. Levine, because it's a hell of a ride for me. I got to drive to New York, or I got to drive to Jersey City, and I got to take the subway, and I got to do all this craziness in order to get there, and that's a lot. It really is a lot, and it's worth it. But so anyway, so we're taking the path, and I'm like, we got to get off at the 14th Street subway so that we can take the thing or over to the other subway, whatever. And so we get to the 14th Street station. I don't get off. But you sit there and you go, I got to get off the 14th Street station. What's the next one? Continue to try to remind ourselves what the hell we're doing. What exit was it that I was supposed to take? Anyway.
And you told me about shopping, and I remember thinking the same exact thing when I started taking Valtrex. That was the first thing I noticed. I went to the store, and I remembered why I went there.
Right.
And I was like, I know I'm here. I remember what I needed.
That is awesome. When you can go to the grocery store and literally actually get everything you need, yes. I mean, that's like, forget about it, like I said to you today, getting laundry done and put away, oh my God, that's like, I haven't done that in a year.
Uh-huh.
So we all go through our gyrations, but so the good has definitely been, especially with this loading dose of Valcyte, was my brain actually worked. And I honestly got more done in about a week and a half, let's say 2 weeks of being on, the first part of Valcyte mentally in the whole year. I got done, more in that 2 week period than I did all year.
Wow.
And that's a wonderful thing. One thing that I think you'll agree is we certainly don't take it. We take advantage, but not too much advantage of our good days. I mean, if this brain's working, we're going to monopolize on that as long as we can.
Yep.
So that was a big deal. And, what else? Energy is definitely up. I'm not going to go to work tomorrow. Not that I have a job to go to at the moment, because that doesn't work out so well with chronic fatigue sometimes. But I'm definitely making strides. Joined a gym, gone twice. That's 1,000 plus improvement over the last year. So I mean, it's those things are all positives. Now, I mean, it's I think they call it like a hemispherics or some kind of, there's some kind of name for it, but I mean, after you do take it, and one, you have to take it with food. But there is
that what you perks?
Maybe, I don't know, but
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, after I originally first take it, I kind of have to lay low for an hour or two. But and then I'm okay.
Mm.
The negatives, I mean, I've had this leg ache, leg pain, not so much joint pain, but I've had that going on for over a year.
Mhm.
So I can't blame it on it, but I'm not saying it's going to get any better either. So
Did that coincide with hepatitis?
yeah, I mean, I think that it's liver related, which if you read some articles on it, it says that when the liver is not happy, that's one of the things that it can do.
Mhm.
Um,
Because when I was after taking Valtrex for a while, the same thing started happening to me, and I wondered about either my kidneys or my liver. So it's interesting that you say that about your liver, because that to me only happens when I'm on like medication or too many supplements. So I think I think the aching leg is related to the liver, but again with CFS, like everything's broken,
yeah,
so
who
it's hard
knows?
to.
Right, and I mean, I've had it, leg pain, leg ache, um, and muscle pain in general, for 20 some odd years. I mean, but it has come and gone. It's
Mhm.
just this past year has been definitely worse than ever,
Mhm.
and more consistent. I think is the biggest point. Like daily, hourly, all the time.
Every waking moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at night too. It keeps you up. You know,
Uh,
um,
is this helping at all, or is it making the leg pain more
I,
consistent?
I don't think it's helping. I think that whether it's helping or hurting, I don't know. I know that getting out and moving and doing more, getting in the pool, whatever is definitely going to be a big saving point for me.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of it, the inflammation, you know, will definitely get reduced by getting out there and moving and getting in the pool because the pressure from that,
Mhm.
I think all that'll help a little bit. And that's what my hope is right now.
Mhm.
I'm getting so much benefit from it that I can't stop, like,
Right. Oh yeah.
um, you know, and again, you read a lot of these blogs, and that's what they say. And like the first couple of weeks, some people go get really bad, but within 3 months, people, and that's really more so the Valcyte. They say that they start feeling better. I think I've done a little bit better than that, a little quicker, because I've only been on it 2, 3 months, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, so it's, from that perspective, it's exciting.
Mhm.
Now we're just trying to figure out how to sleep better.
Mhm.
One of the issues was sleep apnea that came out of my recent doing all this stuff with doctors, and they want you to wear this stupid mask, in order to sleep, which is like crazy. Um, so I've been wrestling with that and trying different ways to, from a pharmaceutical point of view, to see if I can help sleep better. And I started taking Ambien, a week or two ago. But the problem with that is if I don't keep my mask on, that really opens myself up to, being at risk. Because anything that with sleep apnea, it stops you breathing basically.
Mhm.
And so if you're drugged out of your mind or drunk or whatever, your body doesn't necessarily respond as well.
Mhm.
So I talked to Dr. Levine today, actually emailed her, and she went ahead and called in a prescription for Xanax, because maybe we'll try that.
Mhm.
I've also tried, I guess, Clonidine, not Klonopin, Clonidine. Anyway, one of those, and that was helpful. I've tried it in the past. I've tried it recently, but it hasn't been cutting it for trying to wear this stupid mask.
Right.
Um, you know, but whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about what dating is like with CFS, just because I never talk about it, and people, I think people really want to hear about it. I mean, and also you have children, and I think, people want to hear your story about what it's like raising children with CFS and trying to date with CFS and, all these things that I don't do because I have a job full time. And, with CFS you do nothing else, like literally nothing else. So I was wondering if you could share some of your
Sure.
stories.
Absolutely. That is very much a difficult reality. I was married for, I don't know, 15 years or so, something like that. Had two wonderful, amazing children. I did work full time, although I own my own business, so I was able to, kind of manage that. But I will tell you that, I was definitely not the father I am today back then. I certainly wasn't the partner that I should have been in the marriage that I was in. Um, because what I find, and I think you find, is, you know, health is number one. Number two is your job, and everything else is number three. Um, and unfortunately, number two gets kind of messed up with number one because, the job comes first sometimes too. I mean, so the balancing act for chronic fatigue is huge. And there's really no winning scenario potentially.
Mm-hmm.
To fast forward, I got a divorce. I ended up getting custody of my children. I was basically a stay-at-home dad for the first couple of years of that. We moved from North Carolina. We moved up to Jersey. My son is autistic, so that's got a host of issues. He's doing amazingly, but certainly takes a lot of my resources and energy. I was able to get him in the right programming. My daughter's in the right school, and I did, started dating someone exclusively, and then decided that maybe we should live together. Well, maybe that was the biggest mistake I've made in the last 40 years. Because I love her, she loves me. That's all great. But living with someone, even in the best of circumstances, is a struggle. But again, so now you put this whole layer of fatigue and then a layer of, I got to take care of my health, I got to take care of my children, and then somewhere in there, I really should be working, but I can't at the moment. But when I am working, well, then the girlfriend is at the very bottom of that list.
Yeah.
And so we've recently made the decision that I've asked my girlfriend to move out, because I need to refocus. I need to keep my focus a little clearer. And although I am absolutely going to continue to date, there is certainly talk about trying to continue to date in the situation that I'm already in, because I love her. I mean, she's a good person. Although she says she understands chronic fatigue, I know you understand chronic fatigue, and but I don't know that somebody that doesn't really walk in our shoes can truly understand. It's like comparing someone that's lost a child. You can sympathize, you can say how horrible that is, but until you go through that, you don't know. I mean, any of these chronic illnesses, any of this stuff,
Yeah.
we can all be sympathetic, but until you walk a mile in our shoes, it's really a difficult piece of the puzzle. And so, yeah, dating is a really important piece, and I encourage you to do the same. I mean, you've got to get out there and take care of yourself and find someone that makes you happy or gives you what you need. But in our case, that looks very different than a normal working person that has the energy to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week and go to work and still go to the grocery store on the way home and pick up what they need and then, go out on a date or whatever. I mean, it's a different world that we live in.
Or come home from work and then go out to dinner, something some bonding moment where you're not sitting on the couch. And that's just not.
Right, right. Finding someone that is really content with putting a fire in the fireplace and watching a shitload of TV. Now you've got a partner.
Yeah.
I mean, like yeah, dating in CFS definitely a tricky subject.
Mhm.
And for one that I think one of the things that my girlfriend says, you never want to get married again, do you? And I don't know. I don't know that I can do that because one of the other things that I made very clear recently is that I'm not your partner. I can't be a partner to somebody right now. You know,
Wow.
and, so I mean, like,
Yeah. Sounds about right.
like it's not fair. It's not fair to any of us.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what the history brings, in the long term. But again, back to focus, health, in my case, my children, those need to be the focus. And then after that, I got to figure out, how to make sure that I have money continuing to come in and all the other pieces. But, you know, our kids grow up so fast that, we can't lose focus.
Yeah. Well, I if if anyone out there wants to contact you, would you be willing to speak to people or answer
Love it.
questions?
Oh, and that's one of the bigger points that I want to make sure that I throw out there is that, and I know that I've said this to you many times over the last however many months we've come into contact, and obviously, even though we both live in this wonderful state of New Jersey, um, that we came together with a common cause, a common issue, um, and I spent the first 20 years of this on my own. I spent this um, not reaching out, not looking for or running into people in the same world that I'm in, and that was a big mistake. Um, One that I've really recognized now. So yeah, I mean, I encourage and would love to meet more people and network within our community because you know short of the commune that I want to create in Puerto Rico
Uh-huh.
of all chronic fatigue people, I mean, we have to stick together because the reality is, just like AA and all these other programs and all these things, maybe our best support system is each other. And so, absolutely, we definitely need to get my email address, in the bottom of this thing, and maybe I'll start throwing some YouTube videos out there myself, and we'll see where we can go. But you know, very much thank you for putting yourself out there and showing your journey. Because that helps all of us.
Okay, so I'll probably put a link in for your email address, and then if you do decide to do videos on your own, I'll add that link to the bottom of this in the description area. All right, thank you so much, Chris, and I will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.